I'm in love with Orania.
Yes.
Can I stay in here?
You're not Afrikaner.
Afrikaners are descendants of Dutch. And I came across this village called Dahomey. And within Dahomey, no white person is allowed in this village. So out of curiosity, I was like, you know what? I'm in love with Orania.
Yes.
Can I stay in here?
You're not Afrikaner.
What a start.
Afrikaners are descendants of Dutch settlers who arrived at the Cape of Good Hope on a boat in the year 1652.
Remember that. On the
Would
1600s.
you say that Orania is a controversial town in South Africa?
Orania is definitely. I don't have to doubt it. I know that Orania is controversial.
Orania.
Yeah, it should be.
What is happening? Can somebody answer?
Section 235 of the South African Constitution acknowledges the right of cultural groups to self-determination. But what about the Afrikaner enclave of Orania, which also uses race to determine who can be allowed to live in that community?
The main reason why it's controversial is misperception. I think so, it's my personal opinion.
Okay.
Misperception about Orania. The people who have the most to say about Orania have never visited.
Just say a prayer for my city. Just say a prayer for my city.
And what are your
Man,
favorite things about Orania?
Have you ever seen
this will be interesting.
16 or 17-year-old girl walk around 9 o'clock at night anywhere in South Africa?
It's not common.
Yeah. We don't have burglar guards, and if they leave a bike somewhere, tomorrow morning it's still there.
That's a good argument.
Would you agree with me if I say that this man performed a lot of atrocities in the past?
It's our history.
But I know it's your history, but at the end of the day, a lot of people were harmed in the process. You don't think if you are embracing this, you're definitely embracing apartheid?
Yeah, those
Is
things.
it okay to celebrate
Yeah.
Shaka Zulu leader? Do you know who that is?
I know who Shaka Zulu is.
He killed a lot of people. Is it fine to celebrate him?
But yeah, those things can be triggering,
And this
of
is a
course.
question for Iranians.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
I don't even know how to feel right now. Should I tell you guys that I'm super scared? Because I'm about to do one of the craziest videos that I've never dreamt of.
Hey, this guy does an amazing job, man. Shout out to him, and especially
as one of my most sensitive vlog ever. I mean, I'm currently in
it
Cape
came
Town,
right about
driving to a town that
the best
so many South
time.
Africans don't want to hear about.
'Cause
I mean, if I talk about South Africans, I'm talking about Black South Africans, indigenous South Africans, people that were here before the settlers came in here. I believe that most of you have heard of the town. In my whole lifetime,
I kind of had to take some opinions on that other video I was reacting to. Sorry. Yeah, but that some people didn't like. So yeah, man, this is just perfect for the time. For the time being, sorry.
So what is it then?
It's a culture town. It's a culture town. It's an Afrikaner town. The narrative is out there that if you preserve your culture, you're racist, and that's not true.
But I don't think an African can leave Africa, go to Europe, and say that we just bought this land and no one is allowed to come in. In this town, it's whites only. If I have to decode the whites only, I'm talking about Africans only. So if you're a black man like me, you cannot stay there.
We say Orania is a community for Afrikaners. It's not an issue just white in, black out. It's a question
what he was just saying in that
You
intro.
want to preserve your culture. You're preserving your culture on a land that belongs to South Africans.
Well, that is whole nother debate.
If that is
Yeah,
the case,
of course,
then let's bring the other
the form of debate.
Things are happening in South Africa.
White South Africans make up about 8% of the population, but they hold about 3/4 of privately owned land in the country. In contrast, only 4% of privately held land is owned by Black South Africans, who make up nearly 80% of the country's 60 million residents.
I'm sure that you guys know that white people were not originally from South Africa. Like, they migrated in the late 17th century from Netherlands, France, England, Germany, in short, from Europe. I mean, they were immigrants in South Africa, but they forcefully colonized the people. Actually, no. They enslaved the owners of the land, the Black South Africans. This is something that Donald Trump doesn't know, by the way, so you're welcome.
Yeah, unfortunately,
Last month, President
their
Cyril
history...
Ramaphosa signed into law a bill that allows the government to expropriate property for public purposes or in the public interest, in some cases without compensation.
Yo, what's up guys? Now, for a start, huge shout out to Wo de Maya, and I want to ask you guys to please remember the reason why I'm reacting to these videos. So I want to let you all know that I'm making this out of love and a desire to move forward. While reading the comments on my last video, I realized that not everyone was understanding what I'm trying to do. And it was exactly because of that I thought it was best to react to all this video before coming back to the second part of the one I was reacting before. So while this video also gives me a wider perspective, he took me on an amazing emotional journey that I hope I can bring you with me now.
I don't think land expropriation without compensation is a good idea. I think if you realistically look at the amount of land that the South African government has, that the big communities like the Kunyama Trust have and so on, I think the land is not the problem. The problem in South Africa is economic problem, and there's actually been research done on that, proving that people don't necessarily want land, they want a better economic future. Most people don't want to be farmers.
That would make sense,
it's not
but
a very rewarding job in terms of money and so on. I also think that the South African economy will collapse if there is land expropriation without compensation.
Interesting. And I want to include you in this conversation, so let me know what you
that's something to think about
in the comment section. But don't forget to like this video because it's very important to me.
Welcome back. Orania and Africana.
I make his words mine.
Waiting on the US President Donald Trump's order halting financial aid to South Africa and offering refugee status to Afrikaners.
But this is what the Afrikaners think about Trump's offer.
We are not necessarily interested in tax dollars and handouts and help.
It should be interesting.
What we want, we already got to an extent. We want recognition. We want recognition from abroad, we want recognition locally, and we want recognition from our peers. That is to say, firstly, those people are a people upon themselves, and this, they have the right to make certain decisions for themselves. That is what we want. We don't want people's money. We don't want people's handouts. We as Orania want larger recognition, greater recognition. And I think that is not too much to ask. Actually, I think that's reasonable.
And
I mean, I'm sorry, I'm just...
What do Black South Africans feel about this?
Orania can't be a folk state. It is actually what I consider to be a micronation. It's just like a small... Considered, it has certain independencies. They have their own currency.
It is, yeah. You know, when I picked up on that, I realized that there's a measure of sovereignty that is not complete.
Yes.
All right.
You guys might be wondering, how did I got to know about this town within South Africa? So recently I found myself in South America on a project of connecting Africans in the diaspora with Africans living in Africa. So I found myself in Suriname, and I came across this village called Dahomey. And within Dahomey, no white person is allowed
again,
in
this
village.
guy is doing such an amazing job.
I need to go find out why no
And
white person
he has more videos on this topic. Unfortunately, I won't be able to react to the whole video just now, just like I did with the previous one. But I'm gonna do a part 2, and probably a part 3, because this is a long video. But yeah, next time I will react to the previous one.
These get aggressive, so they want to fight. That's why they don't allow white people to come here.
What will happen if a white person comes here?
So this is the other side. But of course, these are natives. I'm just, you know.
Was a video
I'm just going along for the ride and trying to understand all of this is
He's a YouTuber based in
yeah.
Cape Town, talking about
Yeah, I know
town
this guy.
in Africa that no black person is allowed in there. And I'm like, you know what?
He interviewed Elon Musk's father
Cat, right? So
2 months ago or something.
With the African audience that I have, I personally want to go there as an African, as a black man, just to understand what is the motive behind it.
Yeah, of course. And what he's doing, man, it takes a lot of heart, you know?
Bro, like, literally they have everything in here.
Having his ethnicity, you know, and being able to not let himself be too much emotionally involved, I guess. I guess.
Within South Africa.
I'd love to know South Africa,
looking
man.
at the Republic of Orania?
I think
If they are at peace.
Our dream, we as Afrikaners, we love republics. We've created maybe about 20 in South Africa. Only 2 of them survived long term. It was the Republic of the Transvaal and the Free State. So we are people who love republics. Our ideal form of government is a republic. And I hope that one day, maybe my children will see it.
Good morning, or should I say sunrise?
Morning.
From Orania. Today is actually my first day waking up from Orania, and it was such a peaceful night. But it's kind of crazy to know that I'm the only black man in here. I mean, it's so crazy knowing that you just woke up in a white-only town.
I mean, it has to be, right?
We feel so patriotic about our community, so proud. It's still small, you know, but we're so proud of the things that we have achieved.
Today, Orania operates like its own micronation.
Now please pay attention, because it's from here the video starts getting more interesting. Audience starts understanding better that village or that people, and maybe even gets a bit emotional about it. And this is exactly the only reason why I react to these kind of videos. Understanding.
The town of about 3,000 people ran its own economy, and one of the backbones of their economy is agriculture.
This is my jam. Love it.
Outside, it brings money into our economy. Another interesting thing, obviously, is that here we can do something that a lot of farmers can't do, and that is we can plant 2 harvests in 1 year. So we plant the wheat in the summer, just before Christmas. This is harvested. It's plowed very quickly, and the farmers work 20 hours a day to get it done. They harvest, they plow, they plant, and then it's maize. So your next harvest is maize, and you harvest that in the winter, in June, July, and when that goes out, it's a short time to put in the wheat again. So
all the farmers live in Orania.
Obviously, there's farms surrounding Orania as well. This is an Orania farmer, this one.
Man.
So who owns
this? From me watching afar, you know,
who owns it? It is part of Orania.
This would be my dream.
This land, and the farmer works it for their own benefit and revenue, and takes the risks for themselves.
Are those solar panels?
It's really mind-blowing to see a town with just 3,000 people owning their own solar farm. Does it mean that, like, you guys don't depend on the national grid?
We're still connected to the national grid. Yeah. So at the moment we are approximately 45% independent from the utility, and the dream is to go the whole way.
What is the idea behind this whole solar farm, and which year did it begin?
It began in 2021. Recently.
Very recent. What is the main reason why you established your own solar farm, knowing that you live within South Africa?
The main reason for Orania is that we want to be from the start.
That's why I was saying what I was saying, you know, being my dream, you know. I mean, it's anyone's dream, I believe.
Our energy, if you're not in energy independent, you're not free.
What makes you feel so proud as an Oranian? Should
Both,
I say Oranian
yeah,
or South African?
in a way.
You're Iranian. We're Iranians. We're in South Africa. We not loose from South Africa. They are our neighbors. We pay taxes in South Africa, but we're proud Iranians.
Schools in Orania do not teach in English as the rest of South Africa, but rather Afrikaans. Do you have a school in?
Yeah, I noticed
two
that
high schools,
these people
you know, primary and
also
secondary,
have
and
a
then we also have
huge
a college,
pride
tertiary training. We are
in
trying
being
to
South
build
African.
our own Afrikaans university.
And you teach in Afrikaans?
I don't know
Yes,
if
absolutely.
any of you guys watches
Everything
MMA.
Afrikaans. And studies show that children who are
If you
taught in their
do,
mother
do
tongue
you guys
perform
remember
better than children who are taught in another language like me?
Dricus Duplessis beef with Israel
I think against the
Adesanya?
Halal law that's currently being implemented.
What is that?
Man, you
that
can
is a
see
law that
that
gives the
that
state
man
control
has
of
a
the
love
schools rather than the
for
parents
his
of the
country.
So we're very much against that.
But yeah, I mean,
I think it's the state grabbing
different
the
topic.
power of schools, taking away people's rights. There's a lot of religious issues with that. There's lots of cultural issues with that. So South Africans are actually very angry about that. That's why the schools that we built here, we get zero state funding. We don't get a cent from the government, and it's also not expensive. So all the extra money that we need for our schools, we have to raise with projects.
So does it mean that like all the people that study in this school?
But yeah, I just brought the subject because, yeah, if you do follow it, you know, can you imagine?
And then the college.
I mean, these problems didn't just appear.
Also to come to study here.
I'm sure
You can
they
study
have
here, but
been
you can't live in here.
brewing for
Well,
some
they can. All
years,
of
you
them
know,
can apply
and
for citizenship in Orania, definitely.
yeah, man,
Citizenship?
Dricus having all of
College
these
in
in his
Orania
head,
don't believe in theory
being
only,
pushed by
but rather
easy.
practicals, because they believe that the children are the ones that will be able
For
to
sure, it
build
wasn't
the
easy.
future of Orania. You have a college in Orania.
We identified the need to train our people in physical skills, plumbing, electrical work, and masonry to build houses, and that's called skills. And that's why we started the college. In 2019, we had only 5 students. 2020, 50, and now there's about 124. We're expecting more than 200 next year.
So this is more like a plumbing practical class?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, this
So
is
the
interesting.
first groups of students made everything, and now the second and third and fourth generation, they get to use everything the first guys built.
Their life becomes easier.
No, these tables, they built it with the lecturers.
Wow.
Are you understanding what that's all about?
I'm really impressed with the infrastructure development in Orania, because a town of about 3,000 people got their own airstrip, and every single road that you see in this town was actually built and financed
So
by
yeah,
the people.
that's what they're educated in, you know?
What do you do in Orania?
Working with your hands.
Is the growth of Orania. In other words, in Orania,
Voila.
we don't get any money from the government. We are responsible to create our own economy and your own wealth. So my responsibility is to make sure where is the certain areas that needs to address, and then we address our areas. What we are doing,
It's
we
a
have various
pity
projects.
that,
This is just
yeah,
an example of a few projects that we currently
there's so
busy.
much going on.
If you
It's
just
not
go
easy, you
outside,
know,
you'll
to
see
just
we're currently
judge over
busy
this or
building
over that.
This place. This,
But it's a
building.
pity because
So it's going to be a 3-story building. That's a building that's being built here, just next to us.
I wish they would understand each other and solve their differences. At the end of the day, I can understand both arguments, but so much has passed. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it here and react to the rest of the video I was reacting to last week. Then I'll be back to the rest of it, be sure of it. And this is it. I'm not taking you any longer, you know how it goes. Thank you guys for being around. Like the video, comment, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. I'll see you guys on the next one.